Hello, Furlandia, and welcome to yet another epic panel hosted by me, Gray.
And me, its cohort, ChippedMouse. Look, it's right me. You can see the owl man.
There I am, and there he is. So basically, me and him, we like to do a series called Autism Squeaks.
Autism Squeaks, a lecturer.
Which is a series of video lectures we do on YouTube where we talk about various subjects we're hyperfixated on.
Hyperfixation presentations, you could say.
Perhaps you could call it that. And it's basically, this is just a live version of it. So we're basically in the same type of format.
We're doing it live.
Freaking doing it live. Okay. Basically, I'm Gray. The reason I wanted to do a panel about movies made by YouTubers is I personally have an interest in when YouTubers or internet personalities try different mediums from what they're known for, and I already watch a lot of movies, so it's kind of a shoo-in that I'd be super interested in movies made by YouTubers, and the results, the quality of the results vary. But it's usually at least fun to talk about or fun to riff on these. And what about you? Who are you?
I should also mention it's also being this is gonna be recorded and uploaded on YouTube. So if you don't have it recorded, the door is right over there. So Gray's more the movie guy between us. I'm more of a gamer, but yeah, it's kind of lame. I love a lot of YouTubers. I love watching a lot of YouTuber movies. I guess you can say that, and I'm a huge fan whenever YouTubers or any other kind of artists ever deviate from their main art form, because making YouTube videos is kind of an art, right? So also I don't know how good this microphone is. Is it good enough?
Yeah.
All right, good, fantastic. So whenever it's always something special whenever an artist or whatever tries a new medium, and a lot of YouTuber movies, it's a lot tougher to take 10 or 15 minute skit videos and translate them over to a much longer form medium in general. And is there any other intro stuff we got to talk about?
That about covers the quick little intro. We're gonna be talking about 4 or so movies today, with maybe some bonus quick
shout-outs,
quick honorable mentions.
Lowlights, you could say.
Yeah. And the first movie we're going to be discussing today is Smosh the movie.
Smosh made an entire movie? Oh my god. Wow, look at this poster. Look at this incredible poster. I mean,
what does this poster tell you? If you don't know anything about Smosh, what does this poster tell you?
I mean, you got Lol right there, you got Ian and Anthony.
It kind of hinges on you knowing who they are. So tell us, Chip, tell us about Smosh.
So Smosh is a pretty old school channel. It's been around for a while. They got famous first off making a bunch of skit videos, and their first ever real highlight was miming along to the Pokemon intro. And we got this movie stars both Ian and Anthony Hecox. I'm gonna be honest, I'm a bit of a Smosh LARPer. I don't really care about Smosh that much. I didn't really watch much as a kid. I think my brother was super into Smosh, and yeah.
Me personally, I also was kind of a casual Smosher. I only watched it for a few years, right around maybe 2008, 2009, when they were super duper popular. Just because I was a sheep, and I was like, well, other people are watching it, I'll watch it too. And I remember next to nothing about those videos, but
I think I stole my dad's laptop to occasionally watch Smosh, and I was just very whelmed by it. I wasn't really all that impressed by it. So you can Smosh the movie is kind of like a buddy comedy starring Ian and Anthony Hecox. It was written in 2015 by let's see what we got here, Bill Winter, who is Bill from Bill and Ted, which is interesting. And you can kind of describe both Ian and Anthony over here as kind of like Mordecai and Rigby screw-ups. They're both kind of slacker screw-up kind of types. So how I describe them mostly. But Ian is more like the instigator behind all their drama, and Anthony is just trying to get his life together. I describe it. Is there a better way?
Ian, Anthony is basically just like a pizza boy, and he's just trying to
do his job.
Do his job.
Massive wagey.
Ian is just wait, I was mix them up.
I always just mix them up too. I can never get them straight either. It's real embarrassing we can't get the main characters right. How embarrassing. We didn't research enough for this panel.
Wait. So he's Ian. Okay.
Okay. Oh my god. Unless I got it backwards.
That's a helpful guide. That's a helpful guide. So Ian is the one who's just like a neat. He just sits around and watches these videos about this girl who gets her butt massaged on YouTube.
It's called Butt Massage Girl, and he leaves a lot of really funny comments saying, "Oh my god, I want to do things to you," and then he constantly get flagged and taken down. So he is.
But he doesn't let that get him down. He says she's just playing hard to get, is what he claims. But
the entire plot of the movie hinges on what was it? Like their scene. Was it Anthony who fucked up?
Ian is the immature one. Ian was filming Anthony. Anthony's at like a prom, and he's like
he does a sick backflip.
He sings to an off-brand Pokemon theme song, and then he tries to do a backflip, and he like face plants and embarrasses himself. And
this video got a whole 300 views, meaning that everybody in the world's already watched it. Anytime they walk by somebody, they recognize that Anthony is the guy who did a failed backflip and died, and then it's really embarrassing. Died. Really embarrassing. The movie is basically about them venturing into YouTube, which is really funny because they are not very good at. It's not really like YouTube at all. They don't.
This movie feels a little bit.
It feels like it was written by a boomer. Honestly, he doesn't really understand YouTube that well. But I think they do a good job. There's some good sets. There's some funny moments throughout it all. Hang on, my phone keeps turning off. I keep looking at my dang notes. By far the best character in the entire movie right there is Steve YouTube. He owns YouTube. He is YouTube. That is Steve YouTube.
In this universe, it's confirmed that like every like brand is just like owned by like Steve and like Brianna Instagram and like. So it's just like that's just how this universe works.
We also got Stone Cold Steve Austin who makes a cameo. He's not a YouTuber, I don't think. Maybe he is. I didn't really look before the panel. Overall, I think the movie overall is like fine. A lot of people hate this movie and say it's really bad, but I think it's like a fine Discord movie. And you watch it on Discord with your friends and riff on it. It's fine. The biggest, I think the acting, I think the directing and like the cinematography and like the props and whatever else is like fine service level for a buddy comedy. The biggest problem with this movie is that Ian and Anthony are horrible actors. They cannot act. Their performances.
I think the problem is they can't act. I think it seems because they had like next to no input in it. And I think they just didn't want to be part of this, and so they seem like they don't want to be there the whole movie.
Honestly, no one in this movie seems like they want to be there. Besides Steve YouTube, of course. He's in everything he's in. He's absolutely gold. That's kind of the crux of the movie.
And what about the cameos? Tell me about the cameos.
For being a YouTuber movie, there's a couple different cameos throughout it all. We get to see Epic Mealtime as a mailman. He's somewhat popular. Jenna Marbles. Markiplier shows up for a little bit. Dietrich, I have no idea who that is, but apparently he's in the movie. And Shane Dawson was going to be in this movie, but they cut him out, I think. I wasn't in the movie. And of course, Stone Cold Steve Austin, right there. I don't think he counts as a YouTuber, but sure, whatever.
A quick anecdote I want to bring up about a cameo. Jenna Marbles, I got really into Jenna Marbles at one point. And I would like listen to her podcast and stuff like while I was working, and I rewatched her videos a bunch of times. She has not once in the entire hours and hours of her podcast acknowledged this movie's existence. So I think she's ashamed of this movie's existence. You see that she's just like so embarrassed. She'll talk about like being in a Pitbull music video all the time, but this movie she's like, I draw the line. I don't want to be known as the person who's.
If I was given the opportunity to be in this movie, I would totally take it just to be with Ian and Anthony, and act. Every single video in this movie is called Awesome Video for some reason. Like every single title I'm pretty sure is almost always Awesome Video. I have no clue why. They just did it, I guess. And then at the end of the movie, because they went back in time and like went to YouTube and were able to fix their mistake. Ian and Anthony get really famous. They get a lot of women that love them now. They got a massive harem now. They get like a harem ending. But at the end of the day, was it Ian or Anthony? I don't remember. Who wasn't satisfied at the end because they didn't get their high school crush?
Anthony was the one who was like, he has like 10 wives, but he's still like, I want my high school crush.
Did he ever get her? I forgot.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Should we play the clip now?
You can play the funny clip.
I have an epic clip here of the movie. Two clips, in fact.
My name is Mark. Welcome to Gorilla Chainsaw Massacre. As you can see, I'm a pissed off gorilla with a chainsaw. Doesn't really make a lot of sense, but then again, I don't really care.
furries are able to play this at a furry convention.
Sickos.
I really like the fact that these are all like dollar.
They commission those. They commission these fursuits straight from AliExpress. Everybody.
I also find it really funny that Mark. I wonder if like Markiplier was just like smodging him up and was like, "Do you want to be in my movie?" He's like, "Oh yeah, sure. Just turn on my camera real
I
quick."
love Smosh.
I love Smosh. I love you being Anthony. Let me be in your movie. And I guess as a whole, the movie's like fine. Again, it's just like a good like Discord movie to watch with your friends. I wouldn't really go with high expectations, but it's fine for what it is.
In our panel at the end of each movie, we are going to be
Graphic design is our passion.
we are going to be ranking them in our epic YouTuber movie scale on how enjoyable and how accurate they are to the videos. This one, I would say it's pretty enjoyable to watch. It's not quite that accurate to the Smosh lore, I'd say. Like they pretty. There's very little that comes over from the Smosh videos. They kind of just make up all this shit and just use Ian and Anthony as the main characters. But I'd say this, yeah, like you said, like an entertaining movie to watch with friends. If you're not taking it that seriously and don't have high expectations, it's an entertaining
Also,
movie
quick
to
shout
watch.
out to Ghostmates, which is a YouTube Reddit exclusive movie. It's absolutely horrible. Do not watch it. It's absolutely dreadful. The plot of the movie is like either Ian or Anthony dies at the beginning, and he's got to go to heaven or
And
something.
people insist that movie's better than this movie. I don't know what the hell they're on about. I don't.
It is so
we
boring.
We can only get 30 minutes in. That movie was boring as hell. And next we're going to be talking about Fred the movie.
Fred is his entire movie right
Fred
here.
got a whole ass movie. So you start out with your Fred speech because I'm not as familiar with the old Fred videos.
Okay, so here we go. Here we go with Mr. Fred here. Fred Figglehorn, Lucas Cruikshank, I believe, that's what his name is. It says right there. Fred gets a whole dang movie all to himself. So Fred was the first ever channel to get to 1 million subscribers, and his entire gimmick was playing the character of a hyperactive, like 12-year-old kid who was just running around with a pitched up voice, screaming about the fact that he doesn't have his medications, and his mom has abandoned him, he keeps being bullied by people. Overall, like Fred got really popular for some reason. To an extent, it's basically like proto Kid Swap in my opinion. Only like kids
Like
watch it.
what year would you say this was? He was getting super popular in.
2000. Wait,
If I get it, 2010 is when it came out.
there you go, 2010.
But yeah, like 2010 was like the peak of it, but he was slowly growing up from 2006 and onward.
He was in an iCarly episode. He was in his
He
own
had
like
2 different sitcoms on Nick.
for some reason. People freaking love this guy. And overall, like the videos themselves the Fred videos themselves, if you actually watch them, are actually really dark for some reason. But I bet that most of the kids who watched it just thought, "Ha, that guy's really funny." Because
They
he's
just liked
really
it. I think they
loud.
liked his funny voice, and I have a funny clip compilation of the old Fred videos.
Hey, it's Fred! And I'm gonna brush my teeth because I have a dentist appointment today.
Comedy gold, I must say.
Comedy gold.
He's a man of God.
Weezer? Weezer? Oh my god, it's Weezer!
Absolutely.
I wonder if the Weezer people even know who he is, or just
I'm
got.
convinced that like Weezer's like nephew or son was like, "Can you please do us a favor and act in this Fred video?" And they like begrudgingly did it. Okay, now I'm gonna be taking over. Because I for one, I hated Fred, which is kind of funny that I even watched this movie to begin with when it came out in 2010. I remember it airing on Nickelodeon, and I was like a certified Fred hater. So that's why I had him do the intro. So I went into this movie as a kid not knowing next to nothing about it, and I remember at the time I enjoyed it, and I was like, you know what? The movie wasn't so bad. And so basically, this movie came out in 2010. Where the hell was I? Came in 2010 as a direct-to-TV movie for Nickelodeon. It stars the same kid that was in the Fred videos themselves, Lucas Cruikshank.
He is 15 in this movie, by the way. He's 15.
He's 15. He was like 6. He was supposed to be, the Fred character was supposed to be 6 in the old Fred videos, but they aged him up to be 15, like the actual age of Lucas. And so now he's like a middle schooler or high schooler. Basically, this movie brings to life a bunch of characters that were strictly off-screen in the Fred videos. For example, you got Kevin,
His
you got
mom, his
you got
delightful mom.
Judy, the mom. Essentially, this movie is about Fred just running around like
being an absolute
being
menace.
a menace and a nuisance to everybody around him, and screeching and going off on like a grand adventure to meet his wannabe girlfriend Judy, who he stalks.
Who doesn't
And,
even know, who doesn't even know he exists? Almost the entire movie.
Doesn't even know he exists. He makes it to her house eventually because she moved. He ends up in the middle of a party he wasn't invited to. They tell him to leave, and then he pukes on her, and then he makes a fake. Then he gets embarrassed and leaves, and then he makes a fake video where he's
There was a really cool party with his friend.
It was like a fake party with
Bertha.
and they introduced this other character named Bertha.
She sucks. I hate her.
Yeah, she's played by Jeanette McCurdy, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't think she did that great of a job in the role. She didn't seem like she wanted to be there, and it's just like she has like really low energy and doesn't add that much to the movie, except at the very end when she's helping Fred with his little scheme with the video. So essentially,
Kevin.
he gets super popular from this video, the fake party.
Everybody loves him at the end for some reason.
He gets the girl for some reason. Judy suddenly likes him now from his video.
You would not be able to tell by her performance because it seems like she doesn't even want to talk to Fred. But I guess that's how the movie ends.
Yeah, and I really like this movie. I love the cast of this movie. They are all like basically I like how cartoonish the characters are. And everybody bounces off Fred really well.
And also, Fred's a very unreliable narrator throughout the entire movie. He's very unreliable.
Yeah, he's essentially like, there's constantly like fantasy sequences. He's freaking the fuck out over every little thing and like making up stories about stuff that's happened, and everybody's constantly like, Fred, calm the hell down. It's not that big of a deal. And so you got Kevin. He's
he's absolutely the best character.
He's a Chad. He's a Giga Chad. He's like a guy across the street.
I wouldn't even call him a Giga Chad.
In Fred's eyes, he's a Giga Chad.
Well,
he's basically
he's as autistic as Fred is, but like he's a lot more outgoingly autistic. While Fred's
if anybody knows the meme of the guy who's like 1% more autistic than me, you get really mad at him. That's Kevin to Fred. Where Kevin is basically just like constantly antagonizing him because he's slightly less like
autistic.
Autistic than Fred, and he's like, but in the movie he doesn't even have any like friends or anything. So Kevin is just as much of a loser as Fred. He just sits around in front of the yard dancing in front of a mirror.
He is the
Vegeta.
He is the Vegeta to Fred's Goku. They're ultimate rivals.
And his mom just doesn't give a shit about Fred.
She seems so like drunk and out of it for the entire movie. It is perfect.
She just looks like half awake through the whole movie, and she's like just fed up with Fred's shit through the whole movie. And then Judy is just kind of a generic like nice girl.
I think it kind of works for her character because like Fred, like she's kind of like an
It's debatable if it's intentional. Like, oh, the whole movie's from Fred's perspective, so she's just nothing more than like a pretty face as an object to him. But I don't know if this movie had that much thought behind it.
I see whatever I want to see in this movie. I see it as a cinematic masterpiece.
And of course, we said Bertha, who's like the cool alt girl, like friend of Fred, who Fred completely like doesn't realize is super interested in him. And then got Durf, the imaginary friend of Fred, who's like cool Fred in a leather jacket, and he has like a deep voice too. What else can I mention?
It's a really dark kids movie for some reason. Despite
it's pretty dark for like a kids movie. Like his mom is like outright neglectful. They're poor. Fred has no friends except for Bertha.
Because he gets bullied by Kevin. And despite it being a really, really dark movie, it's like it doesn't really feel that dark because like Fred is just so oblivious to everything going on in his life. It's like you would think like how we're describing it. It's like a really dark movie. It's not. It's just like.
It's like so cartoonish and like lighthearted. You kind of can't take it too seriously. It's like, and Fred as being the protagonist, he doesn't usually for the most part he doesn't let all this stuff get him down. He's just kind of like this optimistic like cartoon character the whole movie.
Question? Yes, Doug?
Yeah. It's almost like this movie wants to really be like Pee-wee's Big Adventure, but it doesn't really understand why that works.
I never watched that, but sure.
I've seen Pee-wee. I could see the connection to Pee-wee, but I don't know. I feel like this movie, it does kind of feel like It is, in a way, it's like off-brand Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I don't know, I like both movies personally, and we have a
The plot's also very loose. It's just kind of like an excuse for Fred to just go around the world and be funny. So there's not much plot to this movie. Things just kind of happen. It's just like it's a bunch of scenes just kind of thrown together in a.
And
way.
speaking of scenes, we have a quick compilation of scenes from this movie.
That's what it's like. The autistic picking on the autistic.
Hello, this is Frank. Frank Bicklemore. And I'm here to tell you that my girlfriend Judy has been kidnapped by Asian people. Asian people have stolen my girlfriend and her stuff and her family.
What is your problem?
Ah! Mom, wake up! We're crazy!
I didn't know you'd be so upset. I wrote the address.
She like flinches. I find it really funny how she just flinches.
All this way just for you.
It's a Girl Scout convention. We don't want any of your cookies.
There you go. There's an epic clip from the Fred movie. I have another epic segment I had planned for this. Ways the Fred movie is similar to Joker 2019. Okay, so both these movies.
You didn't even mention John Cena yet.
Oh yeah, also John Cena's in the movie. We'll talk more about him because we're talking about the sequels. Basically, both movies, they star an unreliable narrator. They aspects of the story turn out to be false. There's a mentally ill main character. They're ostracized by the world. There's a shot where they're
Their
both
mom
on
is
the
very
bus.
abusive to them. Their mom is very abusive. Their dad's not real. It's like a fake TV personality, like John Cena TV personality.
Yeah, because Fred imagines his dad as John Cena, but in reality, I'm pretty sure the implication is that John Cena is just a guy he sees on TV, and he just imagines, imagine if that guy was my dad. He's so muscular and manly and
It
badass.
looks just like me.
And both are inspired by the movie King of Comedy, where you don't know what's fantasy and what's real. And I like to just really quickly say, I personally think, because there's a meme of comparing these two shots. I think the Fred shot, unironically, has better cinematography than the Joker shot, because it's honestly kind of like you see like the reflection of Fred in the mirror.
You got that dark spot right there.
It says a lot of the state he's in, because it's like him right after he gets pizzaed by Kevin at the party, and he's like busting home, and he's just like forlorn, and he feels like his life is over. And in this movie, it's just a random shot. It doesn't really tell you much. It's just he's on a bus and he looks kind of grumpy. So I mean, in a way, this is kind of a better shot.
Basically, Fred is SpongeBob and he is Squidward.
All right. To tie this movie up, I think this movie is super funny. I think it's really charming. It's obviously not like a technically great movie, but I find like the character of Fred like funny, and I like all like the little adventure he goes on. I like the most of the cast seem to like vibe well.
I
with
should also
Lucas.
point out earlier that Kevin apparently did not want to be in this movie at all, but he absolutely sells every scene he's in, so maybe he grew to love Kevin or something.
And the guy who played Kevin ended up being in every piece of Fred media ever, including the whole sitcom.
You can't have Kevin without Fred, okay? Or Fred without Kevin.
Like, the mom is great.
They're yin and yang. They're yin and yang.
The mom is great. Kevin is great. John Cena is great, and then a lot of they have all these like side characters. They're really funny. Like they have these guys at a pet store and stuff.
We gotta start hurrying along. We got no time. No time.
But yeah, basically, I like this movie a lot, and I highly recommend it. It's another good movie for riffing. I'd say it's very, very maximum enjoyment, and it's
Relative to all the other movies, I guess.
decently accurate to the Fred lore. And here we're talking about
It got a whole ass sequel.
got a whole sequel a year later, 2011, by the same director but a different writer. Basically, so yeah, basically this movie is about Fred, and it's now mostly in high school, and so he thinks his new music teacher, there, Mr. Devlin, he thinks he's a vampire. And he's also, by the way, it's a Halloween movie if you're not aware. He thinks his new teacher is a vampire, and he's trying desperately to convince everybody around him that he's a vampire. And nobody believes him or cares what he has to say about anything. And eventually, he does convince everybody that he is in fact a vampire. But then he hangs out with the teacher. Fred hangs out with the teacher and decides, you know what? He's a pretty chill guy. I feel bad, and he basically gets everybody to be afraid of him instead of the teacher. And then the teacher moves out.
Also, he's a vampire, by the way.
And at the last second, they go, "Oh, by the way, he was a vampire."
Which I think kind of ruins the entire movie, but that's just me.
So basically, some changes from the last film. They have Judy immediately immediately established that Judy is gone, and because the actress didn't want to return for this movie, and they didn't bother recasting or anything, so she's just straight up gone. So now they just have Bertha basically have a huge role in the movie, and they introduce this new character who is Kevin's cool little sister, quirky little sister Talia, who is super interested in Fred and is very...
Fred is going to get his own dang
wacky.
harem. He's going to get his own dang harem, and he's not even going to realize it by the end of this.
Yeah, he has Bertha, who's now been recast as Danielle Monet, who's enacted a bunch of Nickelodeon stuff, because I guess Jeanette McCurdy didn't want to come back for this movie. She has way more of a presence, Bertha, in this one, because she's like actively a role through the whole movie and is like kind of like
his sidekick.
Basically Fred's little sidekick throughout the whole movie, and helping him out through all this nonsense Fred's going through. I feel like this movie is a lot more restrained than the first Fred movie.
It kind of feels like a Disney Channel movie, like a DCOM basically. It has like the vibe and acting of a DCOM, which I think is a massive disservice to Fred, because like all the dark stuff's kind of turned out. They make Fred like a kind of like less of a massive loser. Like he's like now he has two girls after him now. He can't be a loser anymore if he has two women trying to go after him.
Yeah, he's like way more of like a straight man. I don't say he's a straight man, but in this movie he's like feels like more of like. In the first movie, he's outright a menace and like kind of like a piece of shit. In the second movie, he's more like oblivious and childish and stupid. He jumps to crazy conclusions with his teacher, which feels very sitcom-y, and he's just like I don't know.
It feels like they had like an entire movie already set up as like my teacher's actually a vampire, and then they're like, oh, let's just throw Lucas into it and have a grand old time.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think this movie's nearly as funny as the first one. I don't really like it as much. In general, the new characters I'm not really a big fan of. The teacher's kind of boring. His whole shtick where he goes like the only thing I kind of like about him is how he like enters. He's like hello ski, and then he'll leave a scene and go goodbye ski. He's charming, I guess, but he's not a funny character. He's not super interesting, and he's not necessarily an antagonist either because he's so nice to Fred that like. He leaves no impression on me, and he just leaves the story. So all of this was set up for nothing. It was just like a self-contained story that ended up having no payoff.
You really want payoff in your Fred movies?
A little bit. And objectively, the first Fred movie had payoffs. Like Bertha was a payoff. She comes in the second movie. But what else was I going to say?
Are you going to talk about Kevin's little friend?
Kevin's little friend. She's
well,
just
not her. Like she not like you were really mad that Kevin had like a little sidekick now, and he's less of a loser now.
Yeah.
I still think Kevin's really funny in this movie.
Another change is they kind of made Kevin popular, which I kind of think defeats the whole point of his shtick, where he's just kind of just like this loser who's just kind of hanging out at his house and doesn't really have any friends. But now he has like a little sidekick, and he kind of has influence over the school. It's kind of just like it's not funny because like I don't know. I think they kind of screwed up Kevin. His acting is funny, but the way they portray him isn't as funny. They retconned the whole fake party, him Fred being popular, so now he's just kind of a loser again, which I guess is fine with me because I feel like I didn't go over this in the first movie. I don't really like how they made that end of the movie of the first movie. I'm not really a big fan of that whole end sequence to begin with. Like, I wish it just ended out on the bus scene. Just ended there. Personally, it should have ended there. It should have ended with Fred being depressed. No, I'm not a big fan of the whole ending of the first movie, but
I do like the imaginary scenes in this movie. I think they do make.
They do have funny fantasy sequences. I'll play a funny clip compilation.
Some funny clips. Twilight parody in my Fred movie.
The gig is up, Fred. You gotta suck his blood. Suck his blood before he sucks yours. Grab his head like this. Turn his neck sideways like this.
Fred actually dies here, by the way.
Fred died.
He just died here.
He died. Yeah, there's a way more of all the 3 movies. John Cena has the most scenes of all of them. He has a whole sequence where he's like Fred and him are in like an actual WWE match
With Devlin and Kevin.
And Devlin and Kevin. So yeah, throughout the movie, Devlin is dating Fred's mom, which I don't really like that as much. I feel like it's way funnier when she has like the
She's
passive
in the
role.
background, just
Doesn't care. But her being like an active role in the story, I'm not really a big fan of. They generally like perform. They basically repeat the same formula as the first Fred movie, where it's like, okay, you have Fred. He does some stunt online. He gets everybody popular, and then Bertha helps him with his scheme. In a way, it's basically the same basic formula. It feels like a bit redundant with the first movie. In general, it's just a way worse movie. It's not as funny. The dialogue isn't as good. There's not as many memorable moments. But I would say this movie's fine to put on if it's like Halloween, and it's like Halloween. It's like an okay Halloween.
If you watch Fred 1, you really like Kevin and John Cena, you can probably watch this movie and have a great old time.
It's like mid. I'd say it's a mid movie. I don't really recommend it personally. It has a few funny scenes, but you know what? Who cares about Fred 2? We're gonna jump straight to Fred 3, Camp Fred.
They made a 3rd Camp Fred?
Oh my god. This one was made, once again, a year later. This was a yearly release.
I want to point out that Fred in this movie is 17 years old.
Yeah.
Look how much older he is compared to like these 12-year-olds. Watch the movie, it is night and day and really, really weird.
Essentially, this movie, it was written and directed by completely different people. It does not feel like a Fred movie, basically. It feels like it doesn't belong in the Fred trilogy.
The Fred cinematic universe.
Yeah. So essentially, this is about Fred Figglehorn. Now, he's going to a horrible summer camp called Camp I Wanna Pee. He meets a gang of these 5 misfit friends of his.
You should go down the list of each character.
There's the one with the glasses, the one who eats a bunch. He digs holes, and he's just mute. That's it. They're very deep characters, and that
they don't do anything.
Very charming and funny.
No, they're not. They suck.
Yeah, they suck. So essentially, he learns that at first he hates this camp because it's like
this movie feels like 2 movies in one. Like the first half is Fred trying to escape, then he eventually realizes that his friends are here. And they're going to make his camp experience really fun, and then it transitions to like a summer camp game fight with Camp Superior, who's the better camp, I guess. Kevin's in it, so you know it's bound to be a much better camp because it's got Kevin in it. They start failing it, and then Fred sings an epic song about being losers. So then they win. Yeah, that's the movie.
Yeah, okay. I think this movie, it's kind of hard to recommend this one because this one has like a way more gross out humor in it. It's way more. It's even more cartoonish than the first movie, but somehow Fred himself is like just a boring straight man character now. It feels like this one of all the movies really feels like they just plopped Fred into a different movie because most of the characters from the first 2 movies aren't even really there for most of it. You have, at the very beginning, you have Bertha at the very, very beginning, and she doesn't go to the camp with him, so she's just gone after the little prologue.
The cameo.
And then you have Kevin, who doesn't appear until the very end, and then you have his mom, who only appears once in a while as like a cutaway gag, essentially, about her at home with some pizza delivery guy.
We don't want Judy in this camp? You don't want Judy here to fight Fred or something?
Unfortunately, they didn't have Pixie Lot to return for Fred 3 Camp Fred. And in general, I would say this movie, it's not really like that funny, but it's entertaining slop is what I'd call it. It's like this one is the one I'd say is the most riffable because this one's probably the worst of the 3 objectively because it's like I'll just play the clips.
Catching a bird is way harder than I thought it'd be. So I'm just gonna send you a slingshotted mouse instead.
You better not, Fred. Don't do it. No.
I could really use some cheering up.
That's what I'm here for, son. Life throws you a problem, you just gotta put it in a headlock and hold on. Take the problem, and you just gotta slam that problem in. It's gross, Fred. got problems with your girl, I'm there for you, son. Think your music teacher's a vampire? I got no problem
these
body
callbacks.
slamming him. This place, you're on your own.
And he moves on. Fred Johnson, he doesn't need John.
I rap. Do you want to rap with me?
My name is Fred, I'm sick in the head. Mess
This
with
is
me
art.
and you're gonna see red. F to the R to the E to the T. When you meet me, you think you're gonna pee your pants, that's it. I'm legit, yeah, see, I'm Fred Ficklehorn, damn it. Yo, I'm not feeling too good. I think I'm gonna...
Also in that scene out there's the Crocabaramoose. That's what it's called, the Crocabaramoose.
So yeah, in
He's
this
right
movie
there.
they introduced this.
It's
That's a
all
little
cryptid.
It's a cryptid. This is the scene where he's like, "He's right behind me, isn't he?" And then essentially in this movie they introduced this whole new cast of characters. I don't really like almost any of the new characters. I think the movie is entertaining to make fun of, but it's really just not a good movie. It's like it feels like Fred was just plopped in.
Kevin and Fred do an epic sing-off, and it's pretty awesome.
And for some reason they decided to make this movie a musical, basically.
Well, it's not really. It has like 3 musical scenes. Like the very beginning has a musical number, the ending has a musical number, and then there's the rapping scene. I wouldn't really call it a musical, but
there's really scattered amount of songs, which I don't know why they bothered putting music in this to begin with, because the music in this movie is kind of terrible. It feels like they got some intern who throw together some crap with Fruity Loops and did not know what he was doing.
I should also note that Fred also thinks he's a very good singer, so maybe that's why they made him sing in this movie. I have no idea.
I don't think it's a good justification. So yeah, overall, I would say this movie, it's not accurate at all to the Fred lore, and it's pretty decently entertaining. It's just good fodder to like riff on, but I'd say as like a genuinely like entertaining movie, not that great. I wouldn't recommend this one unless you want to like shit on a movie. It's really bad. And next, we're going to be talking about the Angry Video Game Nerd movie.
Well, can we just point out this cover? What am I looking at this cover? What am I looking at? We got like a bald man screaming. We got a guy running away from something. What kind of movie do you think this
It's like
is?
a demon. Why is there a demon?
There's like a demon. There's a cryptid out there. Like, what kind of movie do you think this is? When you
It
look
says
at
worst game, greatest game story. Duh. That explains
So
it.
this is the Angry Video Game Nerd, the movie, written and directed by James Rolfe. Oh, whatever, it's fine. Written and directed by that man up there, James Rolfe, the Angry Video Game Nerd. He in his entire life he's always wanted to be a movie maker. He kind of fell into the video game reviewing thing just because Mike Matei, his friend, kind of got him into it. He's less about games. He sees himself as a curator of films. And his entire life, his entire dream is to become a movie. So doing this, he was able to crowdfund, how much money was it again?
$325,000.
Yeah, one of the very first crowdfunded movies out there. And he was like, "Oh my God, I can make my own movie. I can break into Hollywood and make my incredible movie. And I don't have to do this YouTube thing anymore." And then the movie crashed and burned. Nobody liked it.
Yeah, it seems like only really like hardcore AVGN fans really like love this movie. I didn't watch this movie till years later. I was a big James head, but I refused to pay money for this because I was like, I saw the trailer and it didn't look too good.
So apparently James started writing this movie in 2007 and only finalized the script like. When he finalized the script, he wrote the script and then finalized it a bit later. And basically, the plot of this movie is really hard to explain. I'm going to try my best to explain the plot. It's 2 hours long, and it just kind of goes places.
It feels like he smashed together like way too many concepts, and he really needed to cut down on.
I mean, he loves horror movies. He loves mountain movies.
It feels like this. It feels like a movie that was meant to be like a love letter to everything he's interested in, which on paper sounds cool. But like in execution, I don't know.
So AVGN, I'm gonna call him the mildly perturbed gamer man because he's not really that angry in this movie. His performance kind of sucks, and he's very, very, very lifeless. He teamed up with his best friend, not Mike Matei, and he also teams up with Girl. I kind of forgot her name. She's not really all that important. I don't like her very much. She's just Girl to me. They team up and they gotta go to the entire movie is the Angry Video Game Nerd. Everybody in the movie keeps telling the nerd, you gotta review E.T. on the Atari 2600 or whatever. The worst game ever made. It was so bad it was buried in an entire landfill. It was so bad. And nerd's like, no, I refuse. I will not look at this movie. I will not review it. And so they drive out to the New Mexico desert and they realize that the E.T. game is like some kind of like. What was it, like a
blueprint
it's like
to some secret lab for the CIA or some shit?
It's really it is
he implements way too much convoluted.
There are like 5 or 6 entire infotubs where they just explain stuff, and it's really, really boring. Here's some iconic characters. We have Death Mwastis, who's like the big kaiju guy, because James loved kaijus. We got Army Guy. He loses his arms throughout the movie. He's actually the only character who has like any kind of good acting. He feels like he actually wants to be there. We got E.T., who's not like you know E.T. Well,
it says E with 2 E's, T with 2 E's, so it's legally distinct.
Legally distinct E.T. because they couldn't actually get E.T. This movie doesn't really keep in the spirit of the angry video game nerd. Like the nerd is really misogynistic in this movie, which is really, really weird. Cause I don't really think the nerd would ever be like misogynistic. He's like a gamer, right? But he's not like
some of the videos, his only real traits were he's angry. He's obsessed with his past.
And he likes rolling rocks.
Essentially. Those are his 3 traits. I'm not sure why James and his buddy Kevin felt the need to inject, like, him being sexist as a main character trait. It's really, really weird.
And he has like this saying called "nerds before birds." And anyone know what a bird is around here? It's like slang for a woman. I have no idea why he says that, but sure, whatever. Go off, nerd. Let's see what we got here. The film's also kind of really self-masturbatory in a way, because they spend like the very beginning of the movie hyping up the nerd as being the coolest guy ever.
His fans love him so much. He loves his fans back.
All the time, they constantly mention that how much he loves his fans. The very beginning of the movie, because it was Kickstarter, they had actual fans send in, like, themselves recording, like, say, do review E.T., you gotta review E.T. And it's really, really weird, because to me, the nerd's like, as a character would be like nobody really cares about him. He just reviews his games, and like nobody like out there in the world really cares. But he could go to like Wingco or whatever, go get himself a sandwich, and nobody would ever notice him or care about him.
Yeah, I think the movie would have worked much better if he was just like
somehow despite this being his job, he also works another job at GameStop, which doesn't make any dang sense to me, because he does like the angry video game nerd thing.
Is the implication that like he doesn't make money off the videos? That part is so weird. I don't get why he introduced the lore that like he's famous and also works at GameStop. I guess it was to make him relatable.
The movie's like general vibe is going for is trying to be like a really schlocky B movie, which I think is a recipe for disaster, because I don't think you can fake making a B movie. Nobody can ever do that. You have to try really, really hard with like really limited resources. He's always trying to like wink to the audience like, I'm making a really bad B movie here. Don't be too critical of me. And like it's not unrealistic, because James does really like B movies, but I don't think you can really force like a B movie atmosphere unless you're like going really, really low budget and don't know what you're doing. It's like happenstance. You make a really good B movie.
In general, B movies that people love and are like beloved are movies where people were genuinely trying to make a high budget and good movie, but they just had not many resources, so they had to use the resources they had, the small amount of budget they had, and it just so happens to be a B movie. But when you try, it's like Birdemic 1 versus Birdemic 2. When you try to force something to being bad versus something like naturally just happening to be bad, it's really obvious.
Or like the Sharknado movies.
Yeah.
What else is there in regards to the being? There's a lot of a lot of practical effects which are kind of neat to look at.
James loved his practical effects.
I mean, they're kind of neat to look at, but it's not worth like he wasted like the entire dang budget on this. He filmed this entire movie in L.A. for some reason, which I have
He traveled across the country from Philadelphia all the way to Los Angeles
to lose all his money just on filming.
To blow $300,000 on the most expensive place to film in America.
He could have filmed it in Philadelphia and probably saved out half the budget and would have probably made a better movie.
So what do you think about that, nerd?
He could have saved himself a lot of time and a lot of grief if he did not film this shit in LA. He could have probably, honestly, I think a game theory I have is if he filmed this shit in Jersey, he probably would have maybe made it wouldn't have broken his spirit, because after this movie, it kind of broke his spirit a little bit. We became a lot more humbled after, like, I guess I'm not gonna be a filmmaker anymore. But maybe if he filmed in LA and Jersey, would have had a better time. But whatever. It's a movie that's basically made for nobody besides James Rolfe. That's the way I would describe it. It's made for basically nobody. Like, fans of The Nerd would not like this movie because like the nerd's not that funny in it. Fans of shitty B movies also wouldn't really like it that much because it doesn't really have the great vibe of a shitty B movie. The movie's just basically made for nobody. And our passion YouTuber scale, it's in the bottom left, and there's no enjoyment and not accurate to the series. But however, all that being said, I think that it was worth it to have this movie because Mike Matei, as we said earlier, was holding down the fort making videos for Cinemassacre. And the only reason why this movie, why a certain video, why Minecraft with Gadget, which is a very funny video, brown bricks and all that.
I understand why all the kids are playing this game these days. It's because they like to build brown bricks with Minecraft.
The AVGN movie is the only reason why Minecraft with Gadget exists. Is there anything else we gotta talk about the AVGN movie?
And that's about it.
Yeah, it's not a good movie. I wouldn't recommend it. No more talking about this movie. I refuse.
So next is gonna be we're gonna do a quick run through, a lightning round of sorts of some honorable mentions. First of all, we're gonna be talking about Kick-Assia, which is really funny because in the footage I was dressed up as Nostalgia Critic. But these movies actually don't have that much to say about.
You're a fake fan.
Basically, this movie's made by Doug Walker and all of his buddies. They were made in 2010. They're these like anniversary videos he made with him and all of his reviewer buddies on his website, Channel Awesome. Basically, Kick-Assia is Doug and his friends take over this micronation called Molassia, call it Kick-Assia, and it devolves into them fighting with each other. There's a bunch of them trying to like rise into power, and they keep backstabbing each other, and they keep just arguing back and forth until they just decide to go back to reviewing. I think this movie has some funny moments in it, but overall, I think it's like a fucking kind of a slog to sit through.
Personally, I think it could have worked as like a 30-minute short film. Because the movie just drags on on and on, and it's such. But the biggest problem with the movie is being like an outside, like the only person in this movie I really care about is Dog Walker. There's so many fucking people in this movie, and it's hard to know like who is who. I wish they had like name tags in each one or like something, because it's really hard to keep track of who's who sometimes for me, and it's really boring. And unless you're like a huge channel, if you're a Channel Awesome head, you'll probably.
It sort of assumes you are a Channel Awesome head.
A lot of the people
watching it.
A lot of people who would have. I guess movie is really kind of just made for the fans.
It's made for fans and people who think just the existence of the Channel Awesome people existing is funny, basically, because like it seems like this has a huge ironic following, which I kind of get because there are funny parts in it. Like, for me, I think the beginning bit with him gathering all of his reviewer friends together and them taking over Molassia is funny. But then after they actually take over Molassia, it just becomes a boring slog of them just sitting around in hotel rooms and in Molassia just going into like, and then this is how Kick-Assia works. And now they're arguing and they're in a hotel room and they're arguing and they're in a hotel room. And it's just like, until the very end, it's boring as fuck. Like, the whole middle section, I feel like you could just cut that down massively and not lose anything. Like, there's so much fucking padding in the middle. And I feel like people just remember the funny parts of this movie and they don't remember all that shit in the middle because it's just like really not that funny for a huge chunk of it. It's just kind of like boring as shit. Like, I remember the first time we watched it, it literally put us to sleep. Then the second time we watched it, we could barely pay attention because it was just like so much talking. It's just talking heads.
The only thing people even remember about this movie is We Believe in Santa Christ. And even then, that's like I didn't really get much out of that scene personally.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a bunch of inside jokes with the Channel Awesome people. It's not that. It's really not really worth watching unless you just find Channel Awesome people funny. I don't even think it's worth watching ironically, personally. On the other hand, their second film, Suburban Nights, I think is a little bit better. It's from the year later in 2011. Nostalgia Critic and his friends are once again meeting up, but this time they go on a grand journey to find a gauntlet. After splitting up in
the Infinity Gauntlet,
they split up and they encounter many foes along the way, and they go on a grand adventure until they eventually get the gauntlet, and then they hide it away, and then Mati from Captain Planet dies. Basically, this movie I feel is much more watchable. It's not great, but it's more watchable than fucking Kick-Assia. It has more like visual like setting changes, so it's not you're just looking at the same fucking hotel room over and over again, and the same like backgrounds of Malaysia over and over, and characters just standing around. So at least like this one has like visually, it's much more entertaining. It still has the same like Doug Walker humor in it though. So your mileage may vary if you find his jokes funny. So the same problems with all Doug Walker shit is that like some jokes could drag on too long. There's some like fucking like boomerish references, and it's okay.
I do find it really funny personally that like they were just filming all this shit out in this public parks and shit, and apparently people found it really embarrassing because like people look at them maybe, and like it's like really funny that like they're out in like the public parks are just doing all this.
It's just that funny to imagine that you're just like bringing little Timmy to the park, and you could just happen to see Doug Walker just like directing all of his friends to like run around in their little fantasy outfits. It's just like what the fuck is going on here? Yeah, there's too many characters. It has the same problem as Kick-Ass. Yeah, there's too many characters. The jokes are hit or miss.
Despite being longer, I think the pacing is a lot better in this movie. Despite being like even
if the pacing isn't the greatest, it's an improvement, I think, and I think that you could have probably cut out some bits from this, and the pacing probably would have been perfect. But aside from that, I think the movie's a little bit better. I would recommend this over Kick-Assia personally, but I don't know. I guess it's not as iconic as Kick-Assia, like the whole fantasy theming, but whatever.
I actually really I prefer like the LARPing shit because like they're all in costume.
It's like there's at least some consistency to the theming. On the tuber scale, Kick-Assia is pretty far down, kind of boring, but it's accurate to the Doug lore, I suppose. And then Suburban Nights is closer to the middle. It's sort of entertaining, a little below average, but it's entertaining enough.
It's accurate to I say it's accurate to Dog Walker, but it's not very good. It's like kind of boring. All right, now we're getting to a new section here, Space Cop. This is exclusive to this video because in the actual presentation we didn't talk about Space Cop because we're doing a lightning round. So we had a couple more movies.
So Space Cop was a movie made in 2016. It was a self-funded film by Red Letter Media. They were making this in between their regular movie reviews. So essentially, this movie is just about like an old-timey cop and a future cop. They go on a case together and they have wacky adventures, and they go around and they cause all kinds of crazy shit to blow up. This movie is interesting to compare to the AVGN movie because it's like kind of what James should have done. It's just like a thing they were doing around their area they lived in Milwaukee. It was really like thrown together. Like the effects are all just kind of DIY'd. I find the like behind the scenes stuff with this movie 100 times more interesting than the movie itself. I think that the pacing of this movie is really bad. I think a lot of the jokes drag on too long. I don't really give a shit about the plot. It's kind of charming, I guess, for what it is, but I would not really personally recommend it.
And for me personally, I remember this movie like almost not at all. I think we watched it once while I was at my house, and then I fell asleep like a third of the way through. So I don't think we didn't bother
rewatching this one because it doesn't really fucking matter.
I'm not a Red Letter Media head, so
I would recommend. Honestly, I'd recommend the commentary track more than the movie itself. I found it really interesting hearing them discuss like how they put this movie together and the struggles they had with making it. Overall, on the YouTuber movie scale, I'd say it's a little bit below average, and in terms of being like there's no videos to say this is accurate too. So I'm not sure where you'd put that on the graph, but I'd say it's like a bit below average, like maybe Fred 2 or Suburban Nights level. And then what about the thinning?
All right, now we're talking about the thinning, which I remember even less about. I remember a little bit about. So this is a YouTube Red original movie. Okay, so Logan Paul is the older brother to Jake Paul, and he is the guy who stars in this movie. And this movie is basically a 13-year-old script of what if the SATs, if you fail the SATs, they freaking kill you. And the plot of the movie is that it takes place in Texas. And if you fail these important school tests, you die. You die for real. You freaking die. And each state in the world, because overpopulation, must cull 5% of their population. And in Texas, they have the tests where you die. Honestly, if you were to ask me, who to cull, I would just cull like old people, I guess. I don't see the point of culling the young people, but I don't know, I guess the audience of tweens really gets a lot out of the script. The movie's really dry and acting. It's really boring to watch. Almost nobody's does any good acting. The plot's really stupid. Jake is not a good actor.
I remember literally, so this is another one we didn't rewatch for this. We just kind of going off our memory of it a year ago. I don't remember fucking anything about this movie other than just it making me it just putting me to borderline putting me to sleep and just kind of pissing me off as we were watching it. I was it was so boring, it was aggravating.
The only thing that's any funny about this movie is the fact that Logan tries to kill himself by bombing the SATs. That's really funny to me. And actually, he doesn't die because his dad bails him out and because his dad's a senator or whatever, and he basically bails him out and makes so he doesn't die. And the movie is revealed that none of the kids actually die. They go to a factory and make iPads for kids, I guess. I don't know. It's a really boring movie. I would not recommend it at all. It's the only thing that came out of this is that I believe Quentin Reviews says, "Here's the thing, I fucking hate Trump."
So, here's the thing. I fucking hate Trump.
That's the only good thing that ever came out of this movie, in my opinion.
What would you put on the patented YouTuber scale?
I don't ever watch any Jake or Logan Paul videos, so it's probably not very accurate, and also to the very bottom of the funny meter.
I remember when I was ranking all of the YouTuber movies we watched together, I put this at the very, very bottom, I'm pretty sure. That's how mad this one made me. I was like, this is the worst of the worst. I hated this one more than any other movie. It feels like a waste of time, is what I'd say about this movie. It really just feels like a waste of time. It doesn't deserve to exist.
Now it's the wrap-up time. I don't really... But when we did this previously, we asked the audience for questions. We played Minecraft with Inspector Gadget for everybody. I guess the only thing I can really say is thanks to the guy who filmed it, because we didn't have any friends there at Furlandia. There's no one to film it, so just some random guy who, I guess an editor from YMS. He lent us a hand, just recorded the panel for us. It's a little bit tragic that the battery died or whatever at the very end. But thanks to that guy for filming at least the beginning of the panel.
Yeah, thanks to him. Probably not sure if we're ever gonna do an IRL panel like this again for the foreseeable future, because we're gonna be super far apart in the foreseeable future because we're not gonna be close together anymore. So we'll see, but. Maybe we'll do another IRL Autism Squeaks one day in the far future, but for the time being, probably.
I don't know the next one. I don't know when the next Autism Squeaks is going to be. It might be a long time. It's might be the last one for a while. It might be the final Autism Squeaks for a while. May or may not be the last Autism Squeaks ever. I don't know. We'll see. We just do it whenever the fuck we feel like it, so who knows. It'll be out when it's out. We like that. It'll be out when it's out.
It's true. It'll be out when it's out.